Hey everybody, I'm Dirty Dan. Welcome back to Greasy Boy Customs. A while back we were working on this thing right here. The beautiful fairlane. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Had a little problem. When you put it in park, it would not stay in park. So, let's open up the transmission and see if we can find out the problem. Before we get all the way into this, I do just want to remind you that this is a 57 Ford Fairlane. This does have a Y-block, and it did come with a Y-block and automatic transmission. However, this is not the original engine that came in the car. And I'm pretty sure it's not the original transmission because this is an aluminum housing 2-speed ford-o-matic transmission, not the cast iron housing. I'm sure there's a ford-o-matic nut out there that knows way more about these than I do. I'm actually a little ignorant with these transmissions in particular, but let me show you what we found. Before you go tearing apart the transmission and dropping the pan, first put your shifter in park and then disconnect your linkage and make sure the actual arm for the transmission is all the way in park. Don't forget to chalk your wheels either. Very important because we're going to be moving around. We don't need it rolling off the lift. So, there we go. Now, let's get in here, take the pan off, and look at what I think the problem is. So we've drained the transmission fluid and taken the pan off. You can see we've got a couple parts here. This part right here kind of looks like it has an arc on the top. That is your actuator arm that pushes against this right here, which is your parking pawl. So that is your parking pawl. Well, with this half moon part not having all of its pieces, it's not engaging the parking pawl all the way. The next crazy part about this is we were able to find one pretty easily. I went on eBay and found one in a Ford Motor Company box, FOMOCO box, new old stock part for like $10. So, okay, we'll go with it. Let's figure out how to replace it. But it looks like we can remove this spring and this nut, and these two arms will come down. There is a detent ball up here. Be very careful with that. And then hopefully we can get this thing out. Let's see what happens. First things first, we're going to remove the retaining nut that holds the two arms in place. You'll need a 1/2-inch socket or a 13 if you're using metric tools. There's a lock washer. We're just going to loosen the nut for right now. Now we're going to take our side cuts and remove the spring. You can also use a pair of needle nose or a flathead screwdriver, or maybe there's a specialty tool. Don't drop the spring like I do right now. Luckily, we were able to find it after we dropped it on the ground. Then we're going to remove the first arm. This arm does have another little arm that goes over into that shaft that's going into the valve body. Sorry, I don't know the technical names. And we're going to pop that out and drop that arm down. This is the one that rides on that detent ball we were talking about in the case. Lastly, our parking pawl detent arm. We're going to remove that. A little bit of wiggle, pops right out. Let's get it back together. And here's our old one, and here's our new one. I'm actually going to lay them directly over the top of each other so you can see all that was missing. Not good. All right, let's hope this fixes it. Make absolute sure when you're going back together with this that you line up this opening on the shaft. It's a little bit of a pain, but it's not too bad. Now that we have the spring in, you can see our new arm is in, and this is the parking pawl. And if you look all the way up here, you see these notches? That's what the parking pawl locks into. Now there is still a little bit of play where it can bottom out. I don't know how much play is supposed to be in there. We're going to go with this. Now we just need to top off the fluid, make sure everything works. Now we brought it over here to the house, to the driveway, because it's pretty steep. And look at that. Fantastic. Does this mean I can actually take this thing down here and wash it now? Park. Locked in there. Well, as you can see in the video, we were successful in repairing the issue. I didn't have a video of what it was doing prior to, but basically when you would put it in park before, whether you were going nose down or tail down a hill, it would just pop and bang and it would not stay in park. The customer who owns this car has a slope to their driveway, and this is not a safe situation. Granted, we have the parking brake working, but it's nice to know that it's actually going to stay in park also.
If you have any questions about what I did with this transmission, I probably don't have the right answer you're looking for, but I will absolutely try. And if any of you have more information on these Ford-o-matic, Merc-o-matic, Cruise-o-matic, Link-o-matic Ford transmissions, please feel free to leave links below down in the comments for everybody else. Till next time, happy hot rodding.